What is going on, guys? Lord Valor here, and boy, does it feel good to say that intro again. It's been over 10 weeks since I've actually been able to say that verbally. Um, as you know, summer schedule was a little crazy, a little weird. Nothing was live recorded that week, it was all pre recorded. So it was a weird summer, and I think we made it through it, though, so we're good. So I'm joined now by Micah. Micah, also known as Lord Dobb sometimes.
The infamous.
The infamous, who has made one video for this channel, but also
One video.
created this channel with me. So it's like this weird mix of like he's an original, but also he's not around much.
I'm the dark man in the background.
Yeah, he does a lot of background things for me, which is fine. So yeah, welcome to the show, man. I've got my black coffee. Emphasis on black coffee because there's no such thing as white coffee.
And I've got my delicious air that I suck in, and it gives me life.
Oh, it does. Yes, we love air. Air in this, this new college apartment's pretty great. So let's talk about what's new in our lives because it has been 10 months, 10 weeks, not months. It's been about 10 months. Weeks.
Question mark?
It's been over 10 weeks since I've actually recorded something to be recorded for this channel. So Micah, what's new in your life since I don't know, I talked to you last, I guess?
Since you talked to me last?
Yeah, so like what's going on? What do you want to share? What have you done this summer? Stuff like that.
I guess I didn't really tell you about my summer. Well, as you know, I'm a college dropout. Now returning. So, I guess my summer started way earlier than yours.
Yeah.
It started at, like, Christmas. Summer and Christmas time. So, when I dropped out, when I got kicked out, because I got the letter,
The letter, the infamous letter.
I started working for my dad, taking care of baby cows.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. As one does.
Yep.
And that was fun, except it was frickin' cold, because it was winter time.
It was in the middle of winter. I swear to you, winters suck here.
Okay. That's absolutely true.
Continue. What happened after that?
So I got to teach some babes how to suckle,
No.
Because they don't know. They're not good at it. So you gently guide them up to the teat that protrudes from the outside of
you're talking cows.
The beautiful building.
Are you talking cows?
I'm talking
okay,
cows.
Praise God. Yeah. You're talking cows. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's definitely necessary. They gotta learn to suck on the teat,
Well, yeah.
So they gotta get their milk.
Yeah, and I had to learn how to use complicated machinery.
It's always fun.
And know how to troubleshoot.
We love using machinery that costs more than our lives.
That's absolutely right. It's like 14 little buildings, each with a beautiful machine in it that costs more than me.
Right, yeah, no, working with machinery that's like super complicated and probably costs more than my life ever will, that's always scary, because if you break something, your fault, and you gotta pay for it.
So that was fun, but I got strong doing that, lifting bags of milk powder and grain. Super fun, super interesting. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, it's the most interesting.
Very thought-provoking process.
No doubt.
But after that, I got a job doing construction.
Oh,
which was
yes.
a little more of a cognitive process. Required me to use my brain, because
you're
math,
building things. Yeah, you're building things.
If you build stuff wrong, then bad things happen
If
sometimes.
you're 1/8 of an inch off, sometimes it just makes the whole house collapse.
Yeah.
Or road, or whatever you were doing.
Houses. But yeah, it's kind of scary. A lot of pressure. Have to learn fast.
Yep.
But I guess that's the way it is with a lot of people's jobs. I don't know what kinds of jobs people who listen to this have, but
Most are probably in college.
yeah.
I would be surprised if there was a 50-year-old man just sitting here chilling, listening to us talk.
I wouldn't be.
Oh?
If I was a 50-year-old man, I would listen to this.
Oh, thanks, Micah.
I
Do you
feel
listen to
like
this
a
now?
50-year-old man. I don't.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Exactly.
That's why I said if I was a 50-year-old man, I would.
So you have to be a 50-year-old man to watch this. Is what
I don't
you're
even know where to find this to listen to. Wait, it's just on YouTube, isn't it?
Yeah,
I should start listening.
Saucium on YouTube. Yeah, there's actually some pretty good episodes.
Silly me.
Zach was on. That was a good episode. Clay's been on. I talk a lot about, we just talk a lot about nerdy stuff. And speaking of nerdy stuff, let's get right into some nerdy news. So I just looked up some stuff that's going to be releasing on Disney Plus, and I thought this was an interesting one because we both read the books. Aragon has been released as of this recording. Should be on Disney Plus now. Have you seen that movie?
I have seen.
I have as well.
That movie.
But when I saw it, I had read the books in like 4th grade, right?
Yep.
Because I read all these. I read most of my books in the 4th and 5th grade.
Absolutely.
So I read Aragon in like the 4th grade, and I enjoyed the books, obviously. And then I watched the movie when I was in like freshman, sophomore year of high school, and I didn't mind the movie, because as a movie of itself, it holds up from what I remember. I'd have to rewatch. It's been 4 or 5 years now since I've seen it, but it held up on its own as a movie. It just didn't follow the book very well, right?
Definitely true.
So that's probably why it's gotten some flack for not being a good movie.
Well, and I think part of that is, I'm not completely sure on this, but I figure while they were making it, they realized that they weren't going to make enough money, so they actually put like the ending of the series in the first movie.
Oh.
And they kind of like joined the first book and the last book in a really weird way.
Okay. Yeah, but as a story, I don't remember it really being that weird, but it's also been 4 or 5 years, and that was before I became a real stickler about stuff having to make sense,
Yep.
And one thing I will say that was terrible that is on Disney Plus is the Percy Jackson movies.
Oh,
I don't know if I've ever had this rant on this podcast before, but I was writing a script to a video that I don't know if I'm ever gonna release, but I was like writing all the problems with the Percy Jackson movies and like how disrespectful it was to what's his name?
Riordan.
Rick Riordan or Riordan? I don't know how to say his last name, but how disrespectful those movies were to Rick and his storytelling and his like understanding of Greek mythology. He did a lot of good story building things that the movies lacked a lot of. Definitely. You didn't get any, like, you got very little Greek mythology knowledge from the movies. You had little depth to the characters. They were just very like, hey, you already know these characters, so we're not gonna rehash them in the movie because you're watching this because you already know who the character is, and they have assumed you've read the books.
Yeah, that was...
So there was a lot of assuming going on, it seemed. And the whole story itself just doesn't add up, even, like, very well at all. There were some, like, weird plot holes that are just like, why? You know? Have you ever seen them?
I have.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, we were talking earlier about Aragon does kind of, like, stand up for itself as a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it, like, gives you what you need to know just from the movie. But the Percy Jackson movies are... They just don't make sense.
Mm-hmm. Another one that does not hold up as a movie is Artemis Fowl. So Artemis Fowl, I haven't read the books, but I've heard they're very good. Artemis Fowl is a series of books And then what they did for the movies was they took all 3 of those books and smushed them into one. So what you ended up with was a bunch of character decisions that really didn't make sense. One minute they were slapping each other, and the next moment they were making out. Not really.
Fun.
Not really. But, like, there was the scene where Artemis and this elf or something were talking, and they're, like, yelling at each other, and then all of a sudden, hey, you want to be friends? Oh, yeah, I want to be friends. It's like, what? They don't... And then I was watching with a friend, and he was like, yeah, they actually don't become friends till, like, the 3rd book. So what happened was they took all 3 books, tried to smush them together, and then what you get is a bunch of weird character decisions and character development that doesn't really make sense. You know, it just feels rushed.
It's just like sticking everything in a blender. And
Yeah.
Putting it on pulse.
Yeah, and then just hoping it tastes good. And no, it did not taste good. So some more releases that will release on August 25 that I thought was worthy of note. Chip and Dale has some episodes coming out. Chip and Dale Park Life. I haven't watched it, but I've seen a lot of it on Disney Plus. So Disney Galleries is coming out with another episode about the making of The Mandalorian. I believe Disney Gallery shows how they made things, unless you interviewed the writers, the directors. And this one's specifically about The Mandalorian. So if you want to see The Mandalorian from a whole new perspective, from the perspective of the writing and the screenplay of it all, you should definitely go watch Disney Gallery's Star Wars The Mandalorian. Monsters at Work. I have not gotten to check this out, but have you seen this?
I've heard of this.
Yeah, so it's I don't know if it's Monsters University. It has something to do with Monsters Inc.
Yep.
And I don't know what it's about, but I don't think they're very long episodes either. I just don't know what the point of them is. But I've been interested to check it out. What If you're interested in the Marvel content, that will release August 25 as well. This is a Wednesday, if you are confused. And that's what's releasing next week. And then the 27th, the only thing I saw that was really releasing that was worthy of note is Cruella. You will no longer have to pay for premiere access for it. It will just release as a movie, and you can watch it with your regular Disney Plus account. So that's everything within the month of August that I saw that was of importance to note on this podcast. So with that out of the way, let's get into the main discussion. So Micah, we both yesterday went to the theater and saw Free Guy.
Yes.
So I'm curious, before you saw this movie, what had you seen about it, and what was your mindset when you went into the theater when you were going to watch it with us? What was your mindset, and what had you heard about before the movie that you know of?
Well, honestly, going into it, I wasn't that hyped. But from the trailer, what I saw in the trailer, it just seemed like one of those trailers that puts everything together to just make it look better than it is, or cooler than it is. But honestly, it was way better than I could have thought it was from the trailer. The trailer had some good exposition of amazing moments, but wow, did it not show me how amazing the rest of the movie actually was.
No, the movie blew me away.
It
Absolutely.
Totally blew me away.
It caught me off guard. I had seen the trailers, obviously, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of excited. I really kind of want to see this. The concept, someone said it last night in the apartment, the whole concept of video games can be overused.
Yeah.
And can be done very poorly, but this was not. And even if you're not into video games, you don't need to have any video game knowledge to understand what's going on.
On the flip side of that, though, the amount of gamer culture that was in the movie was fun.
Yes, there was. We'll get into spoilers later. We're going spoiler free right now, but yeah, there was a lot of references that if you are into the gaming community, you understand. You know what I mean? Yeah, but it's not like you're missing anything if you don't have that knowledge. Well, right. You're missing something, but you're not missing anything important. Um, so my mindset going in was it's a comedy. It's not supposed to make 100% sense all the time. Its main goal and purpose is comedy. And so I was able to forgive a couple things about the movie simply because I knew it was a comedy. We're gonna enter a realm like we're spoiling things, so if that bugs you, just skip ahead to the end of the podcast or whatever, because we're talking about this probably for a while, because we both are crazy, went crazy after watching this movie last night.
That's absolutely true.
So there was a scene where Guy, the main character Guy, was running from Stranger Things guy, I don't know his name in the movie or whatever. He was running from two developers of the game, or hackers, or developer, hacker,
They were
banners, whatever, like staff members of the gaming company. Were in the game to try to get rid of Guy because they thought
like
Guy
moderator
was...
people.
Yeah, they were moderators. They were trying to get rid of Guy because they thought he was a hacker, but he was really an NPC that had become aware. Spoilers. But he was running, he had those jumpy shoes, he jumped up a couple times, and I just realized how bad of a shot those two moderators were, because he was running down a straightaway. He jumped to a cannonball, which was very funny because it started saying the song Wrecking Ball started singing. And then it said nope, and they like fell. I don't know, it was just really funny. But that whole time they were shooting, you know what I mean? The whole time they were shooting, they totally should have shot him, because he was on a straightaway out in the middle of nowhere. How did you miss all of those shots?
Like, they must be awful gamers.
No, yeah, exactly. So, like, and I think that was kind of the point, is that they're developers. They don't actually play the game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was able to forgive that. But, so that was one thing that I noticed was kind of like, but that was right at the beginning. But I was just like, okay, forgiven. They might not be good gamers, whatever. But, Micah, so what was your all-time favorite moment from this movie?
Oh my goodness.
There's so many, I know.
Oh my
but
goodness.
you gotta narrow it down to one, maybe two.
No, without a doubt, I have my favorite moment. So there were some really good jokes. There were some jokes that pushed the line. They towed the line so much. They went over the line, and then they went back over the line again.
Yeah.
But one of the jokes that was within the boundaries, but that was also good, was, what was it, Jonah? It was the scene where it was the action scene, the pivotal moment where they're trying to steal a certain file. And
with what's her name?
So it's Guy and Molotov girl.
Okay, yeah.
And he's jumping onto the motorcycle, and he's ready to leave. Molotov girl does some crazy flips and stunts and lands on
crazy shit.
The motorcycle, sitting facing him in front of him, and asks Guy, "Is there a Glock in your pocket?" He says...
He looks at her and he's like, No. Pause for like 5 seconds.
I got 2 Glocks.
I got 2 Glocks in my pocket. And then he drives away. Dead.
That was a beautiful, beautiful
My
moment.
favorite scene, this is also coming from Marvel Geek. There was a scene at the end of the movie where they took out Dude, and Dude is just basically a stronger version, or a stronger looking version.
He's like the ultimate guy.
He's like the ultimate guy in like a muscular way. A Guy is obviously better, but Dude was like this buff guy. Anyway, so there's a moment where Guy was fighting Dude, and Guy grabbed his glasses, he put them on, and then you see him like scrolling through the glasses, like trying to pick what weapon he wanted.
Well, yeah,
and
because Dude was coming at him with, well, one of the bad developers hacked in and gave him some
super punch or something.
Yeah, like a death punch.
Death punch.
It's like a one-hit move or something.
Yeah, and it would have finished Guy, and then they would have failed their mission. If you've watched the movie, you know what scene we're specifically referencing here. But you see him scrolling through, and then you see him like choose a blue circle with like with a white star in the middle, and I went,
I
"Oh
knew what
wow!"
it
knew
was right
exactly. I
away.
was like, "Oh, that looks like a Captain America shield," but there's no way they could make a reference to that because I'm like instantly my mind's like, "Nope, copyright, blah blah blah." But there was then he like this dude comes in to punch Guy, and then suddenly he has this shield, and it just doings off the shield, and then there's a pause, and then the camera turns, and you see it's Captain America's shield, and then Guy looks right at the camera, winks, and then looks back, whilst the Avengers music is playing, da 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 da, and it that moment gave me like life. It reminded me of the moment. This is gonna be a really weird comparison because they're so different, but they're both so pivotal moments in movies. This was also the moment where Guy began to fight back for the first time against Dude. So like it was a pivotal moment in that way. But like when Captain America picked up Thor's hammer, spoilers. I got the same like excitement when I saw that Guy had Captain America's shield protecting him from the death punch. I had that same excitement within me. And then he took out Hulk's fist and like punched Dude. It was so funny. It was just that was my favorite moment. And then there's a cut to Chris Evans sitting there watching on his phone. He's like, "What the shit?" And it just I was probably I'm a loud laugher. So I'm sure everybody in the theater was annoyed with me by the end of the night. But
I'm sure everyone was annoyed with all of us.
Well, the people behind us were worse, to be fair. I saw them throwing popcorn at people in front of us, and it landed on one guy's shoulder. He actually like realized he had popcorn on his shoulder and ate it, and I was like, "Do you know where that came?" Anyway, so I don't think we were the worst in there. I probably was just the loudest laugher, and I could not contain myself. There was, as an overall for this movie, it had the perfect mix of serious moments, funny moments, inappropriate moments.
Romantic
moments. I mean, obviously it was a little sexualized, like very sexualized, but that was also part of the comedy of it all, right? Yep. I at first I thought it was gonna be a big turnoff to me that it was like kind of like making it sexual, especially towards the female character, right?
But it was also so sweet.
Right, like they had that line of like making her super duper hot, but also like not
parts of it
dwelling on it too much where it makes you as the viewer feel awkward. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Like, the romantic moments were more... They weren't as sexual as they were, like, cute.
Yeah. No, the relationship between Guy and... whatever her name is. Mia or something?
Oh.
Maya?
Something.
I'm bad at, like...
Just call her Molotov Girl.
Molotov Girl, yeah. So that, but let's get to the plot twist and why it wasn't really a plot twist. I saw it coming. But like the moment where it made it less weird that Molotov Girl was in love with Guy is because Guy was coded the way Stranger Things actor, he was a developer. He developed a game with Molotov Girl. It's not even telling me her real name. But it developed a game with Molotov Girl, and then they both realized that the writer Antoine, thank you. They both realized that Antoine had stolen their code and used it in his game called Free City. Yeah, Free City. And so Molotov Girl was after this information to prove it. Keyes was not convinced, so he worked for and what'd you say it was?
Antoine,
thank you. It's such a weird name. And so he worked for Antoine, and then Keyes suddenly realized that Antoine had stolen, helped Molotov Girl. Guy also was an NPC that had become self-aware and became and also helped Molotov Girl. I'm trying to like summarize the plot now, just to like go over things that we could talk about this movie because it's so good.
But yeah, the pivotal moment was because Molotov Girl and Keyes were the co-developers, and then they had created Guy.
Yep.
So that's why Molotov Girl fell in love with Guy in the game, because Guy was coded by Keys, and Keys
made. Okay, it's a little it confuses me a little bit. Guy?
Okay, so Keys
developed
created Guy
and
to be like a hopeless romantic.
That
was his original code.
That would only break out of his cycle per se.
Yeah, he was stuck in a loop until he found the perfect girl. And
that perfect girl was Molotov Girl, whatever her real name was. Which it started with an M, and I'm not remembering it. And if you know it, you're screaming at your computer right now. But yeah, so that's where I was going with this. Thank you for refocusing me on what I was trying to get at.
And that's what I'm here for.
Good. Yeah, so that was the big quote-unquote plot twist at the end to try to make it less weird that... I hate calling her Molotov Girl, because she has a real name. That Molotov Girl was...
Millie.
Millie, thank you. So,
frickin'...
yeah, Millie... So the reason Millie fell in love with Guy was because it was basically Keys. And Keys really secretly had this crush on Millie.
And it was so obvious.
It was so obvious.
The whole movie, and it was...
Oh, yeah, you totally saw that coming.
That was the good part about it. It was like, you want to yell at the screen the whole time. Because they're both just being idiots, and it's obvious that they're, like, perfect for each other.
Yeah, there was definitely chemistry. Wink wonk. So let's talk about Ryan Reynolds. So Ryan Reynolds himself, as an actor, obviously, we're going to ignore Green Lantern, act like that movie doesn't exist, just like I think Ryan Reynolds himself would like. Ryan Reynolds, in the past years, I think has been putting out some good stuff. Deadpools, both of them, I enjoyed them both. Have you seen either of the Deadpools?
Sadly, no.
No.
If you want anything from me, you're not going to get it, because
Well, I talked about, I don't know what episode it was. It was an episode with Jasper. It was like 2 years ago already. Oh my gosh. And we're only on like episode, oh goodness. I didn't even look up an episode number for this. I don't even know what episode we're on. Anyway.
You're so sad.
I'm so sad.
You're pitiable.
I am very pitiable. But no, so where was I going with this? I do too. It's weird. Anyway, so I just, yeah, he was in Deadpool. Me and Jasper talked about Deadpool in a past episode. Deadpool was very good, both of them. I enjoyed the second one more than the first one, which is not, I don't think, a commonly held opinion. That's fine. I don't mind, because I enjoyed that movie. What else did... Oh, no. It's fine. And then he put out this movie, which was Free Guy. And honestly, what would you rate this movie out of 10?
Out of 10? I don't rate out of 10.
What do you rate out of 69?
No, I rate out of 11. I rate it...
Alright, what would you rate this movie out of 11?
I rated a solid 9.
9 out of 11.
Yeah.
Okay. I would give this movie a 9.8 out of 10. This movie... I don't know what its reviews it's getting, but I thoroughly enjoyed the comedy in the movie. I laughed a lot during the movie, which is not normal for me for a comedy. Even when I watch The Office, a lot of The Office is making me cringe.
Oh, that's why I can't watch The Office. I have too much...
But I still enjoy it because it has its moments where it makes me laugh out loud. But it's not as often. So this movie on IMDb, as of now, is rated as 7.6 and has a Metascore of 62, which isn't terrible, all things considered. I've definitely seen better. But, again, comedy is subjective. And this... If you don't like inappropriate humor, this movie is not for you. It pushed the line.
Definitely pushed the line.
It skimmed the line, then it crossed the line, then it exceeded the line by, like, so far beyond the line you can't even see it. and then it receded back behind the line and got serious again. So it knew when to push the line, it knew when to pull back, it knew when to be serious, it knew when to make a joke.
Right, the order was
the
perfect.
order of like the comedy to seriousness to goofy is like perfect. Yeah, so if you have not seen this movie, go see it in theaters.
Now.
Go see it in theaters.
We ruined it for you.
We ruined it for you if you watched this
it.
far, but go see it. It's very, very good.
And honestly, we could never have talked about, like, if we had hours and hours, we couldn't talk about all the beautiful things that this movie did.
I want to watch it again. Maybe not in theaters, but I want to watch it again. I would watch it in theaters again. It's just I want to also see like Shang-Chi and like all these other movies in theaters, so I have to hold myself back from seeing it again because I have to, budget because I'm in college. But yeah, this movie is top notch. Good comedy, good storyline. Yeah, that's all I have on the movie. You have any last comments on Free Guy?
Well, you kind of mentioned this at the very beginning, but you were talking about kind of the action aspect of the movie and like that one unrealistic scene. But some movies that focus a lot on action, because this movie did have a lot of action, but some movies that focus on action focus way too much on action.
Yo.
But it was so refreshing how this movie played with the line of making action something that was totally normal. Because of all the NPCs, like, they were so used to getting beat up and blown up and all this stuff happening to them.
Yep.
That to them, from their perspective, stuff blowing up, tanks rolling down the street, none of that was a big deal. And compared to like some action movies, you see just people screaming and things getting blown up, and it's like, yeah, that sucks, but it's over dramatized, and this did a good job of balancing that out.
Yeah, and it also you know that they like Guy was in a video game. He obviously didn't know that,
right?
But like, yeah, stuff like that. So yeah, Free Guy. It's a must see in my opinion.
Absolutely.
It's not just a see it if you can. I would say seek it out and go find it to see it. That would be. It's not something that I'd say, you're not gonna really miss much, but you should watch it. But you're not gonna miss much if you don't. I would definitely recommend going to see it.
Bring your friends.
It's make theaters something that stay around.
It's an experience.
It is an experience,
and that shouldn't go away. It's something beautiful.
Yes, I love theaters, and I didn't realize how much I missed it until yesterday, when we went at 9:00 at night for absolutely no reason, but because we could. So yeah, that is gonna be about it for this episode of Lifecast.
Episode question mark
because I didn't look it up because I'm silly. But yeah, I'm also like 10 weeks out of practice. So forgive me for all the weird rants I went on and the lack of focus. Micah had to rein me in. I lost my focus. I was just rambling.
What a dweeb.
But thank you guys for listening to this episode. This will be coming out to you on a Wednesday. 25th, actually.
Sweethearts, all of you out there. Maybe I'll be around more.
Yeah, Micah and me now live in closer proximity to each other. So he
Much
can
closer proximity.
Probably, and he goes to my school now. I'm older. I'm a freshman. I can say my school.
What? You're a freshman? What? You're a sophomore.
Freshman.
I'm a freshman.
I'm a sophomore. Sorry. Did I say that wrong?
Yes.
I can say my school. Wow. Anyway, so yeah, Micah should be around more and be able to podcast. I enjoy his insight and ability to know what we're talking about.
My ability to use the words when Jonah just
can't. Like, actually, though, he knows how to phrase things better than I do sometimes. And, like, I'll be struggling to phrase it in a way.
Like, brain loops where
Yeah.
he just gets stuck sometimes, and
Yep.
he needs his daddy to help him.
Yes, I do though. And you probably heard that when my last episode with Josh. My last episode with Josh, I did some weird rambles where I was just like lost what I was talking about, so I kept talking to try to figure out where I was going with this conversation. Yeah, kind of like what I'm doing right now. So, all right, I'm gonna reel back in. This is the end of the episode. Thank you for watching, listening. There's not much to watch, just a blank screen. So thank you for watching, Micah. Thank you for joining me.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yes, I hope to have you back a lot more now.
This is fun.
I hope to have more than just one person. I hope to have like 2 or 3 people podcasting at a time. And then I feel as if someday I might do a Lifecast live where I live stream a live podcast, but I'm not mentally prepared for that yet. I'm very out of practice on focusing up on certain topics sometimes. So, we shall see you guys later. When life gives you lemons, be a free guy.